discussing ways to fund your move abroad, because I know there are some who are looking for practical, answers to how to go about, moving abroad and leaving the U.S. just with all of the instability and the things that's going on there. So I'm gonna see that the sound is coming out good before I take my walk, and we're gonna talk about it. I hope everyone's having a beautiful Tuesday. I know I am, trying to. There's been a lot of quirky stuff going on with YouTube this morning, so I'm trying to get some work done. But yes, it's a beautiful day, beautiful Tuesday. Uh, 1 second. Okay. Let's see. Okay, it looks like we're good. Looks like we have some sound. So I am going to go and I'm going to walk and talk. Yeah, so everyone, lots going on right now. I've been checking out, just kind of staying abreast of the news. And, we all know what it is, and we're not going to get into no doomsday conversation about it. But, there is a lot that those who are living in the United States right now are having to deal with. A lot of change, a lot of challenges, a lot of financial strife. And so people are like, okay, yeah, sounds good to maybe step away for a while, but exactly how am I supposed to do all of that? Like, where do I get the money? How can you work abroad? And what a lot of people don't know is that, and I've been traveling abroad for years and figuring out ways to keep, the funds rolling. But for those who are new to it, some people, they need like a practical, like real solution and way to manage living in another country and not being able to go out and per se get a job, down the street at Whole Foods or something like that, or do gig economy, or even just get you a corporate job with ease. But what a lot of people don't know is that there are opportunities and job opportunities that you can get online on websites like Simply Hired, through Indeed, through making contacts and connections in LinkedIn, that will allow for you to work remotely. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like that is like common for these remote jobs to let you be international, because it isn't. But if you are someone who has a background in tech at all, customer success, any kind of tech background, let's see, sales, SDR roles, things like that, there is a possibility that you can do those things internationally. Like I said, it's not as common as it would be for you to be able to do them and be remote in the United States. So a lot of the remotes that you do find on Simply Hired Indeed are for those who are living in the United States, okay? So, but the things that you need to be looking out for as a individual who is looking to be working while they're overseas, while they're maintaining a lifestyle abroad, if you don't have an online brand or business that you're running, or in tandem, in at the same time as running a business, you can look to contracts. So getting contracts with different companies, maybe providing sales support, doing things on a contract basis as opposed to needing to have a W-2 and all of that. Because with that, they're a lot less likely to give you a hard time in regards to where you are if it's already a remote job, right? So you want a fully remote job. There's even a website called fullyremote.com. Okay, you want to find jobs that are fully remote, they're not hybrid, they're not asking you to stay domestically, and they're truly remote jobs. But those jobs do exist, and I've had a lot of them. I've always either had a job or had, like a brand online that I was, making money from, either selling products, services, or what have you. But right now, I'm mostly working for some companies. And I like the stability of that while I try to rebuild myself virtually and online in regards to the things that I want to do online. So look into some of those websites, simplyhire.com, Indeed. LinkedIn can be good depending upon what you're into, and even fullyremote.com. Okay, for contracts, for roles that are truly remote roles. And, one of the roles that has consistently over time and for many, many years been truly remote and contract roles are in education. So if you're someone who has a background in education and teaching, you've taught, maybe ESL. I formerly was an ESL instructor for many years while I was living globally, because I'm 20 something years in with this now. But, I have done where I was an educator, just straight up teaching kids on online platforms. That is an option for you still. It's not the way it used to be, because back in the days, China used to be heavy in that industry, and you would always be able to get a job working for a Chinese company and getting paid, well. But now it's a little different. It's harder to find true ESL roles online, but they are there. Or education in some capacity. That could be tutoring, okay, education in some capacity. And when it comes to after school tutoring and support and ESL are all options for you still. If you get you a little TESOL or a TEFL, a TESOL or a TEFL certification, these are jobs and roles that you can do from anywhere. And that's the benefit of them. So, speaking to those who may be still trying to build their online thing, who aren't interested in doing anything online, who just want to keep, their lifestyle together and not, run out of money while they're international, folks that just want to have jobs. That's who I'm speaking to right now. So those are other options for you if you're a natural educator. You can get these kind of jobs. You can also find contracts in certain types of roles, right? And I think it's important for people to have at least some go-to, websites and some resources for them to look into this further, because it's right now is the time to just start knowing what direction you're looking to go in, and putting a practical plan together. I think for those who are feeling that pull and that urge to get on and kind of come out of the chaos for a while, even if it's not forever, thinking about, okay, how can I realistically keep everything up in the air and keep my bills paid and being able to live abroad. So, choosing the right place, a place that's going to, be something that's very affordable for you if you're not established yet with the company. Like, say you get a job or a role with one of these companies I just mentioned, but you're still establishing yourself. You don't feel super stable yet, or maybe you don't feel stable enough to move. Still, you can dip out. You can leave with that role and just know that you're probably going to have to get another one to tack on with it, So always just having different income streams. So you tack on another role with it. You're always looking for work, always looking to have options for income and money and offering services to people and stuff like that. Because the way that you can live in other countries is just so much better for so much less. That it's worth it for you to do a role or two, doing some basic easy teaching or offering some basic services to a company. It's easy and it's better to do that than to be struggling and stressing in the US right now. That's just my opinion. That's what I see. Stressing, working gig economy and 2 other jobs, still can't barely pay bills, right? I already know the whole scene. I'm from the States, even though I don't be out there, and I know the scene. It's a whole lot of hustle and bustle for not even getting nothing, really. You're getting just terrorism on every level, mentally, spiritually, emotional terrorism, scared to let your kids walk down the damn street, scared to send your kids to school, worried about yourself when you got to go do something like just go to the grocery store, especially as a woman right now, worried about white vans passing by, like stressed and worried about everything. So, if you have the option to get you a little job or a contract in a job and make your little whatever, $2,000 a month, yeah, it don't sound like nothing. We know you can't do a thing with that hardly in the US right now, nothing. But somewhere there are places where you can go and live off of that and be cool as an individual. There's not a whole lot of places where you could thrive off of that per se as a family, but they exist, they do. But as an individual, you doing those little contracts and then making sure you have some savings on you when you leave, when you come out of the US, you make sure you have a little cushion of a few months, and just post up somewhere. Somewhere that's safe, somewhere that's mellow. I mean, I don't feel any of that urgency or that stress or strain that y'all are dealing with out there, other than the fact that I'm tuned in because I'm from there and I got loved ones in the States. So I do tune in. Get off your asses on November 4th and vote Democratic, or you'll lose your Obamacare and your Medicaid. It doesn't matter, Patrick. I feel you. We love to think that we are in the U.S. is a democratic society where voting really makes a difference. But do you honestly believe that the individual who calls himself the president right now got in there fair and square, even this time? And do you honestly think he's going to be leaving fair and square because someone voted him out? Or any of them? Like, voting is off the table. Okay, this has nothing to do with voting. Okay, fascist, I don't even want to say the word, but the type of authoritarian stuff that's going on right now in the U.S. has nothing to do with who voted what. And that it has to do with takeovers. And it just is what it is. And I feel you can't work. Well, what we're talking about right now, FK Google, I know, it's crazy. He's about to remove SNAP. As many people utilize SNAP to supplement, their day-to-day eating and their lives because of the inflation, the inability to cover everything in the U.S. For them to be so callous and not care and just do this quick removal just shows you the nature of what you're dealing with. This is not no regular government situation. And so for me, I know you said you can't work, but we're talking about online stuff. Using, bare minimum skills, knowing how to speak English. You can get a job online, a contract online, making enough money so that you can move somewhere like here where I'm at, super peaceful in Brazil, and just live your life, work from home. Maybe you can't ball out, but that's okay, because I'm pretty sure the lifestyle is going to be way better than anything you got going on out there, because I don't know anyone that's happy out there like that. Yeah, you just don't want to work. Okay, well, that's up to everybody, Everybody has their desires. You got to do something, though, or have something coming in, right? I mean, you wouldn't want to be out in the street. But all I'm saying is you can live, you can move abroad, and you can do that. I've been doing it for years with kids, and I didn't have it in my head that I couldn't do it. I knew I deserved peace. I never liked the United States. I've been seeing what was coming. I've been seeing what is happening now coming for 20-something years. I knew it was going to go through a time where it would really decline because of just how degraded it already was. It's just a degraded place. It always has been. Look what the country's built on. And so for me, I've been traveling and doing this for years. I never was rich. I always just put a plan together and I worked my plan, and I've been blessed everywhere we've gone. So all I'm saying, if you have that interest, some of the options that I named earlier here on the live, you should look into some of the resources. The government is not obligated to feed anyone. Y'all have become to, yeah, I hear you. I have to agree. I mean, I am a single parent. I pretty much always have been. I was divorced, but I am divorced. So I was married for like 7 years. But and there have been times in my life where I have utilized SNAP, and very gratefully, especially when I was living in the Virgin Islands and it was so damn expensive. Food was just through the roof. Everyone deserves to eat. So we know the government shouldn't have to do this or that, and a lot of governments don't help out at all. So Americans are very spoiled in that way. But I got office, and as soon as I could get me a good job with all of this education and stuff that I had, sometimes I was still in and out of work. So once I, got tired of, trying to figure the online thing out and make that my sole way of supporting me and my children, I said, let me get me a good job too. And I did that, and I didn't need them, and I didn't qualify no more, and have happily walked away from that years ago. But some people, they haven't figured it out yet. So we also need to be practicing empathy and understanding for folks, not the ones that's like, you're supposed to pay for my livelihood, because there are those really entitled ones, and I don't agree with that shit. I have to buy groceries with my money. Everyone else should. Don't have babies if you can't feed them. See, no, I mean, I agree with all of that, except at the end of the day, you've got people who had babies in marriages and the marriages fell apart. They had to run from the marriages. They've had people who had kids by means where they didn't even want to have the kids. I mean, you got so many circumstances with people having children. So to just be completely cold-hearted about children, it doesn't really say anything good about you. We're talking about children. We're not talking about the dumb parents, because there are plenty of dumb people out here having, relations with no plan and ended up having children from that situation, and then want to cry and complain that nobody's giving them, everything, and feeling entitled to a whole lot of stuff that they're not entitled to. We get all of that. I get that. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about just having empathy and compassion for the fact that we're talking about children. They should not be pulling the rug up under people by removing SNAP in this way. They could at least give people some time to try to get it together and get their minds wrapped around the fact that these programs are going to start coming to an end, okay? So that's what this is about. The fact that they're not doing that means they don't care. It means they don't care what's going to happen in that country, how many people are going to be homeless, how many people are going to be going through starvation. They do not care. This is not a government that is actually concerned with the betterment of the country. And that's what people have to get realistic about. That's not what they're going for. Have you noticed? Nothing good has come from what's happening right now because it wasn't meant to be good. And so just because a lot of people got manipulated into thinking that it was going to be something good and it was going to bless the country, America was going to come back and be great. No, that's not what this is. Okay, y'all was duped. Anyone who was believing that, you got duped. And so now we're seeing what it really is, and it's beyond voting. And believe me, when it's time to vote again in 3 years or whatever, y'all, I do not think that this individual is going to be running no square and fair campaign situation and allowing himself to get voted out of nothing. So, you kind of stuck with him right now. And it is what it is. It's a hostile takeover. So saying all that to say, now is a good time, unless you just want to ride it out, to at least have your plan B in place. And what I was giving you earlier in this video is some options for plan B, so that you don't have to keep making excuses about why you can't leave or can't do what you are intuitively being told to do. So if that means finding an online job, finding a job in education, you don't necessarily need to have no license, but you could get you a certification, a TEFL, a TESOL certification, so you qualify for these online roles. Okay, this is what my daughter did straight out of high school. Now she has time, she's making money online, and she has her time to also, do salsa, do her things, her passions, and not be super stressed out, because her job it pays well and it's low stress. And she lives here in Brazil with me and enjoys her life. So she's a kid. So I know grown adults can go out and get some TESOLs, some TEFLs, get themselves ready. If you don't have no skill that you know how to market really online to try to get clients and stuff like that, you can also find sales related roles, remote roles, okay, online. They might not be the best pay, but I bet you they'll pay for you to live in Thailand. I bet you they'll pay for you to live in Mexico or Brazil. You probably can't live off of them in the US. You'd have to have about 4 or 5 jobs, but you may only need one and maybe another little contract or something, or a couple of roles to manage and live the way you want to somewhere like where I'm at in Brazil. So just saying all that to say, there are options for funding this movement. Some people, they fund it because they're retired and they have certain retirement income coming in monthly. That's a blessing. Some people, are pulling off of their 401ks. They're pulling out of their Social Security and their different things so that they have money to make a move, because you do want to have some padding. You don't want to move and not have nothing. I have done it in the past, so I have had times where I was so ready to be out of the U.S. I will get my kids and we barely have anything. And I might just have an online job. And we've been so blessed. I can't tell you how forgiving other countries are. You go somewhere like Thailand, no one's checking your credit. No one's doing all of this background mess. They just give you a home. You try to pay for your home, then you're good. And then other countries, it's not the same thing of just evicting people so quick. when they can't keep up with these ridiculous payments. You know what I mean? It's a different energy. In other places, there's more humanity involved, especially if you go to like country towns and places like even in Costa Rica, we had a beautiful house up in the northern part of the country by the volcano, and we just treated so humanely up there. I mean, like everywhere we go is just so much more humanity. It's unbelievable. Yeah, and that's great. I love the USA too, but it is what it is. I'm sure there were a lot of people who loved Nazi Germany, okay? I don't know if I should have said that. I'm sure they loved it. They loved their home. Did that mean they didn't get the hell out of there when it was time? I don't know. What do you think? I don't think everybody just stood there like, I love this place. So it's not for everybody to leave, but if you feel it, you should leave. It's as simple as that. I mean, I don't know what else to say. If you feel like it's not going to be the right thing for you to have to sit there as the country is going through a major decline, where a lot of things are just offline in general, you're not going to have access. They're stripping and taking rights away left and right, about to remove the whole Voting Rights Act, literally already done destroyed women's any kind of freedoms or anything for women. I mean, the whole country is just like in a downhill spiral where no one's going to really have any kind of rights to anything. They just be on the social credit system, and they better stay in line. You know what I mean? Just like in China, they better stay in line or their social credit's going to be all jacked up and won't be able to do anything within society. Once that happens, look at China. Just look at China, y'all. They are under maximum control out there. And that is, I think, the road that the United States is on. So I'm not into it, unfortunately, because I'm really enjoying building with y'all, but I am running low on battery. But yeah, check out the beginning of this video and just give it a little bit of thought, you know, like what I can get a job. If I can get a role here in the US, I can also get one that will allow me to be elsewhere. You know what I mean? And then really go to those websites that I mentioned and look for what you need. Use the filters. Really pin down exactly what you want it to look like, all right? And what kind of role that you think would be, you know, suitable for you, that you actually qualify for. And check it out. You'll be surprised. It's not easy. Sometimes it does take some assistance, and you know, and I do help and support people who are interested in finding employment remotely and don't really know what steps to take and getting their resumes together and all that good stuff. I'll put links down below. I know my phone is about to die. But yeah, get with me on Substack too, y'all. We're going to be on Substack building more. I'm writing on there. It's going to be fun. As a black man, the USA has been great to me financially. If it wasn't so great, yeah, everyone's not trying to come there right now. Actually, the president is like kicking people out. It's actually a nightmare to come there right now. So yeah, that in the past, it might have been good, but we're dealing with right now, okay? We're dealing with the administration that's in right now, how hostile they are, and what's happening there right now, okay? I'm gonna try to jump back on later, but yeah, you guys, have a wonderful day. Check out the video. We definitely gave you some good tips on jobs. I'm not talking about building brands online and all of that. Okay, straight up employment, something that holds you down while you're living elsewhere and watching the chaos that's happening in the US from afar instead of in it and trying to stay sane in it.